Hello and welcome back to what is episode 3 of Conflict, Middle East Political Simulator. I have a bit of news here. I managed to contact the developer of this game on Twitter. He's still around. He said he would watch some of my videos, so definitely hello to him, David J. Eastman, if you're there. That's a bit of news, but let's get on to episode 3 of Conflict. Israeli Premier assassinated, new Israeli Premier takes over. That's me for the third time. And Syrian advisors meet counterparts in Beirut. So this means that the Syrians are about to have very good relations with the Lebanese. So that's not too big of a deal for me right now, because Lebanon typically does not last out the first year of the game anyway. So let's go on to Egypt. What do they think of us? Okay, this could be a very different game. They're acting aggressively to us, but currently they're workable relations, so I'm going to try to improve. And again, Egypt, you always want to undermine them from within if we go into war, especially because it will affect the amount of military that they can field. I'm not really going to do anything with Iran except for destabilise their government, because again, the only scenario you want to really avoid is a nuclear Iraq and a nuclear Iran going to war with each other and then nuking each other using mutually assured destruction. We don't want that, because that ends the game. Even though we were not involved in even though we did not pull the nuclear trigger, the game still ends. So diplomatic with Iraq. I'll stay where I am with Iraq. I will, for now, take no action on Iraq, because Iraq can be a useful ally because they can potentially hit Syria and Jordan. I'll see what Iraq does before I take any action there. Jordan, I'd be nice to Jordan while undermining them. I want to avoid wars. There might likely be a war with Egypt, so I really need here to be very, very friendly with all my other neighbours. Lebanon. Try to be friendly with Lebanon, not undermine it, because they won't last a year anyway. Libya. I'm going to try my strategy of this time the sort of undermine Libya strategy, try to collapse them. Just because Egypt takes a long time to destabilise, and it can get its stability back by winning a war against another country, and it will easily defeat Libya militarily. So I'm going to try the opposite strategy of, instead of stabilising them in case Egypt goes to war with them, I'm going to destabilise them to try to prevent that war and Egypt from stabilising itself. So that's a sort of new strategy. I tried it last time, but Egypt destroyed Libya within 5 minutes. So be nice to Syria while undermining them. So again, if you press Shift B, you get an analysis screen with all your diplomatic relations and internal stabilities of the country. So yeah, I'm okay with Egypt, but they're acting aggressively towards me, so we'll see how that develops. Right. And now it's time to make policy. So the first thing I'm going to do, as always, is buy the AWACS spy plane from the United States, because that allows you to see when enemy forces are mobilising on your borders using the strategic action screen, so I'll buy that. I'll also then go to nuclear weapons. It's always, of course, going to say 3 months are required for nuclear weapons, but in reality it can be any time frame really. You should just ignore that. I'm going to continue funding that. Strategic action, there's no build upon the borders yet, and no country has pursued nuclear weapons. Purchase arms, I'll just keep it simple with some Scorpion light tanks from Britain. And Palestinian problems. This is what actually defeated me last time. I will, at present, leave it alone. But I will try to probably get rid of them at the summit, if possible, this year, just because it took me out last time, so I'm a bit paranoid maybe about that. So let's go on to the next turn. Iranian leader publicly announces Iraqi regime. Okay, so typical thing to happen is an Iran-Iraq war, which did happen in real life in the 80s as well. So yeah, Iraq and Iran, that's just fighting each other. It's what all the headlines tell me. Okay, we've actually managed to improve, I believe, relations with Egypt. I'll keep going in that direction. Try to keep everything stable. Iran, we want to support the insurgents of Iran. And to play Iraq here, I will temporarily try to keep them strong in case they're going to hit Jordan or Syria. But if nukes start entering the equation, I will, for safety, destabilize and see if anything changes. Jordanian diplomat, so it's unlikely that Jordan is going to hit. So Iraq is going to hit Jordan in this game. They could still hit Syria, so I'll be beneficial to Jordan and destabilising Lebanon. Be nice to Lebanon. Destabilising from within Libya. Again. Destabilise Libya for the new strategy, Syria. And then, right, next policy. Okay, so nuclear club, first thing, always fund it. Strategic action, nothing is built up on borders. Purchase arms, let's go for, I'll go for focus on. Yeah, I'll focus on light tanks. 200 units, 200 of them. So Palestinian proper, again, nothing's happening, so I won't post the brigade. And yeah, next turn. New leader impairs Israeli-Syrian relations, okay. Yeah, so... Okay, so... It looks like Israel and Syria are going to have problems, which at least it's not Egypt. Alright, so my relations have gone down with Egypt, I'll have to be nice to them again. We really do not want to get caught in a two-front war with Syria, Egypt, that's just impossible. So I'm hoping that does not happen. Iran, again, destabilize Iran. I'll focus on destabilizing Iraq as well because they're unlikely to hit Jordan and I don't think they'll hit Syria in this game, and they've sort of weakened themselves with Iran. Yeah, I'll be nice to Jordan. Hopefully Jordan might help me if I take on Syria. I'll support their insurgents, why not? I'll be nice to Lebanon. Or supporting their insurgents, try to just get rid of them. Libya, support insurgents. Syria, try to be nice to Syria, whilst also trying to start an insurgency. Right, nuclear club, again, fund it. Strategic action, no build upon any borders. Purchase arms, let's go for... I'll go for some attack helis, they're always really good. Yeah, and yeah, check the strategic action, I think I did, yeah. So now on to the next turn, so it's been a bit of an uneventful game so far, but that's probably about... Okay, here we are, Egyptian and Israeli use crash causing outline. That means I'm going to war with Egypt, the exact thing I wanted to avoid. Yep, so Jordan and Iraq signing a deal with each other. Islamic dissent is voiced all over Lebanon, so they're collapsing from within. Iran is winning the war, that's bad. And yep, so it's time to really go full bore just on the Egyptians and try to survive. I'll try to improve, but it's definitely going to go to war. I need to really support their insurgents. So Iran, always undermine Iran. I'm going to undermine Iraq because I don't want nuclear Iraq and nuclear Iran to fight each other. Jordan, I really need to be sweet with Jordan here. And Lebanon as well, just to try and, they're probably very unlikely to attack Israel, but Libya, I'm now going to want to be nice to Libya and disrupt their insurgency. Hopefully I can get Egypt into an unsustainable two-front war with both Libya and me, but I don't think it's going to happen. Syria, really need to be nice to Syria here. Because if they get ideas, it's game over already, and that would not be good. Yeah, so nuclear club funded. I may have to use nukes on. I'm going to either try to get a peace deal at the summit with the Egyptians, or I'm going to have to use nukes, or that's what my sort of options are at this moment. I cannot win this war, or a Libyan-Egyptian war as well, but that's kind of out of my hands. Right, so I'm going to focus on SAMs, helis. Right, nuclear club is already funded. Strategic action. Right, so I'm going to go Egypt, and I'm going to have to go full bore on their border, deploy everything. So now if we go to review forces, I've deployed a lot of equipment, about 1,500 heavy tanks. And yeah, so 5 brigades and about 1,500 heavy tanks to their border. No unrest yet. And that's it. Next tab is anti-descent voice all over Lebanon. They're losing it from within. Yep, the harmony is definitely being undermined in the Middle East. That's a really big understatement there. Syrian and Lebanese youths crash causing. Okay, so at least if Syria is fighting off Lebanon, at least it isn't going to be able to hit Israel. So it looks like Iraq will eventually lose, but it might take months, because oftentimes we might be in a good situation here because Egypt and Libya are getting into bad situations with each other, so that can be really, really good. If Egypt gets in a two-front war, that is incredible. So Egypt, I'll try to restore relations, but it won't work. Intelligence. So I want to support their insurgents. Iran. Intelligence, support insurgents. Iraq. Intelligence, support insurgents. Jordan, need to be very nice to Jordan, but also support their insurgents in case they eventually want to have a go. Lebanon, this time I want to stabilise Lebanon because I know that Syria is going to hit them, so they're going to lose it there. It's actually a bit of a choice here, because if I try to get rid of Lebanon, it means that Syria can kind of attack me in the next coming months. Even though it stabilises Syria, I think I will let Syria take out Lebanon. Libya. Be nice to Libya and disrupt their insurgents. Syria. Be nice to Syria. Support their insurgents. Make policy. So I'm going to go nuclear club again, fund it. Strategic action. Egypt. I'll go maximum further deployment, and I'll go for the invasion next turn, so now all of the military will be on that border if I go to review forces. Yep, every piece of Israeli military hardware is now on the Egyptian border. So hopefully we can do this two-front war and we can defeat Egypt. So SAM systems, I couldn't agree more. Let's get some 50 SAMs. Get some more helis. Yep, that's fine. Just check I did it, yeah. Next turn. Okay. Fighting starts with the Egyptian front, not back. Israeli tanks take over. That's because they're deploying stuff on the border. They've invaded Israel, attempted to invade Israel, but they've not been able to go fully in with their military because they've got stuff going on in Lebanon as well. So looks like that was the right decision to amp up the military instead of invade on that border. Bombers headed for Cairo were intercepted, so there'll be Libyan bombers. And the summit is happening. So hopefully the summit might agree around Iraq war peace, or hopefully what we don't want is Egypt's Libya peace. That's what we don't want. Right, yep. So Egypt, I'm gonna support their insurgents. Support insurgents. Iran. Support insurgents. Iran is weak from within Iraq. Support insurgents. Jordan. Be nice to Jordan. And support activities of the insurgents. Lebanon. Yeah, I'm gonna disrupt the insurgents in Lebanon. Libya. Be nice to Libya. Disrupt insurgents. Syria. Gotta be nice to Syria. Support insurgents. Right, next term. Strategic action. Egypt. Oh, like I said, with defeat. Okay, it's not going bad. Deploy all extra forces. Yeah, it said like defeats for Egypt was what's happening, but I'm already back on the front, so maybe that's not exactly true. So now purchase arms. Just try and get mass on some light tanks because you don't start with very many at the start of the game. 2 months required, so I can nuke. It's probably unlikely for me to get nukes in 2 months, but it's possible. Right, next turn. I will attend the summit. Yeah, we're in Iraq war. Because the first time this happened, right? Okay. Syria, who wants it? Syria wants Palestinians. This could go either way. It's a tough choice either way. I think yeah, if I get that US financial aid, I think I can take Syria even with the front not back a little bit. It's such a tough choice, but I'll go for it. Why not? Okay, and right. I think I'm going to have to refuse. Big front last line lost for Israelis. Yeah. Initial tanks. So they're using tanks. I'm using forces. Okay, Libya and Iran don't like each other. Not really a problem. Ceasefire between Iran and Iraq. Okay. So, and also Lebanon collapsed. Looks like Syria probably open negotiations for a ceasefire. Support the insurgents. Iran. Support insurgents, although they've gone back to very sadly there. I'll leave Iraq for the present time. Invade Jordan. Supporting insurgents. Lebanon is gone. Libya. Be nice to them. Help the government. Syria. Yep, Syrian army celebrates victory against Lebanon. Yeah, okay. Support insurgents. They've gone back up to very solid now. Right. Nuclear Club, fund it. 2 months, okay, not helping. Strategic action. Egypt. Okay, the front line has held. For now, I'm outnumbering them in tanks, light tanks, SAMs, okay. But they're just massively killing me in infantry. I'm going to work out that I'm going to say I need more light tanks, so that's what I'm going to buy now. Purchase arms, Britain, Scorpion light tanks, 150 of them. Nuclear Club I've already done. Yeah, I did do the strategic action. Next turn. Middle East tension mounts as harmony undermined. Yep, that's like hostility towards Jordan ups Middle East tension. Short tank power puts Israel in dominant position. Okay, so who is that's the thing Jordan beefing with? That's the big question. US made big foreign policy blunder. This game came out in 1990, and they certainly did in 2003. Egyptian, be nice to Egypt, support the insurgents, Iran. I will support their insurgents while supporting relations. Right, Iraq. Iraq and Syria has aggravated tensions. This is going to be good, okay. I want to, I'll spoil with Iraq. I want to stabilise Iraq. We want Iraq and Syria to go to war. That could be really, really good for us. Jordan, again, continue being nice to Jordan. What's supporting their insurgents? Lebanon's gone, Libya. Be nice to Libya. Disrupt the insurgent group. Syria. Be nice to Syria, okay. Support the insurgents. Hopefully a big war with Iraq gets going here. Yet then I are worried about the present war with Egypt, so am I. Strategic action. Egypt. Okay, the front has stayed in the same position. They're now marginally ahead in heavy tanks. Okay. I'm going to buy more light tanks. See nukes first. Another 2 months still. This is not looking good. Purchase arms. Britain. Light tanks, 200 of them. We already did that. I've given the Palestinians to Syria, so I don't have to worry about that. Next turn. Iraqi-Syrian relations deteriorate rapidly. Syrian Jordan's, oh wow. This could be very good. Syria could take care of itself. Big troop losses for Israelis in Egyptian war. Armoured divisions fight as Egypt falls back, so we're losing forces, but we're... Yeah, so looks like Syrian issue is taking care of itself. Hopefully I can stay alive with Egypt for long enough to get that US financial aid, because I'm going to seriously need to rebuild my military. Open negotiations for a ceasefire. Support their insurgents. Iran. Support the insurgents of Iran. Iraq. We want to disrupt the insurgent group in Iraq now. Jordan. Be nice to Jordan. I will support their insurgents. They're really solid. Lebanon. Don't need to worry about Libya. Military pact with Libya. stabilise their government in Syria. Be nice to Syria. Or supporting the insurgents. I hope they get taken out by the others. Right, strategic action, how's it going? Okay, need to just maybe invest in some helis here. Yeah, I think I'll do that because they're anti-tank, so I need to reduce Egypt's tank for extra forces. Continue. Purchase arms. Helicopters. And then, yeah, I've done it. Alright, so now it's 1 month away from nukes. Hopefully. Could be a lot longer. I'm really going to have to hold out for US financial aid. Big front line losses for Israelis in Egyptian conflict. Short tank battle, so looks like I'm winning in tanks. Iraq counter destruction of 3 Syrian bombers, okay. Iraqis counter Syrian army units are now in Iraq. Okay, right, yeah. Oh, it looks like Jordan died. Wow, I don't know how they died. They must have maybe been killed by Syrians? We'll have to see. Normally you get a headline for that. Open negotiations for a ceasefire. Open negotiations for a ceasefire. Support their insurgents, they've weakened internally. Support insurgents. Iraq. Disrupting insurgent group. I want a strong Iraq. Jordan gone, Lebanon gone, Libya. Give aid to Libya and disrupt the insurgent group. Looks like they might fail anyway. Relations with Syria. So it looks like Syria. I'll pick Syria. Yeah, they won against Jordan. Iraq must have not intervened. Make policy. Okay. Hopefully next month, strategic action. Egypt. Frontline is holding steady, but man, are we getting crushed. I'll pursue some heavy tanks. I need to rebuild those heavy tanks. Purchase arms, USA, 150 main battle tanks. Did I do nuclear club? Yeah, I did. Purchase arms and more light tanks. Yeah, I did it. Okay, let's go to next turn. Syria and I celebrate victory over Iraq. Damn. General anarchy as Iraqi government collapses. Israeli troops tie as war into 6 months. Israeli tanks start to take the upper hand and US rebuke Libyan bombing of Cairo. Okay. Yeah, so Libya are going to get involved. Hopefully this means an easy resolution to the war. Alright, Egypt. Diplomatic. If the Libyans are going to attack, I will keep it closed. Let's see. Support their insurgents. Iran doesn't really matter now, but I'll support their insurgents. Iraq's gone, Jordan's gone, Lebanon's gone, Libya. Give aid to Libyans and disrupt their insurgent group. I just need them to attack something. Syria. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I've got good relations with them. So I'll leave it for one turn before I attempt the nukes to destroy their nukes. Alright. nuclear club. Okay, deploy nuclear weapons. I can. Things get too bad. So it's November, so I'm 2 months away from the financial aid package. I hope to not use nukes in those 2 months. We shall see. Strategic action. Egypt. Okay. Still winning those light tanks and SAMs and marginally jets. I will try to get more heavy tanks again, so deploy extra forces. Now let's purchase arms. USA. Main battle tank, 150 of them. Purchase arms, Britain, Scorpion Lights, 50 of them. And continue. Next turn. Here we go. Right, Libyan forces hit Egyptian troops on a new front. Libyan air superiority breaks Egyptian divisions. Libyan allies celebrate victory over Egypt. General anarchy as the Egyptian government collapses. Libya stepped up and won the war for me. Now I've got 1 month before I get that US financial aid, but it's still probably going to be a tough war against the Syrians if it's going to happen. So much black on the map now. Yeah, so actually I only really need to be concerned with Syria at this point, because all the others kind of don't border me. Workable, okay. So I might just try and destabilise them, because they're a bit waning internally, so I'll wait 1 more turn. I think I'm just going to try and coup them. So, purchase arms. I really want to see how badly I was decimated in that war with Egypt. Okay, so let's review forces. Wow, okay, so I've lost 1,500 main battle tanks, and I was even buying them. My light tanks forces stay strong, so I got quite decimated in jets, but they're really expensive. They're like $35 million a pop, so I really need to rebuild the military, and hopefully that US financial aid is going to kick in very soon. So I'm gonna focus on main battle tanks because I really need them, and light tanks. Next turn. Okay. Yep, okay, increased defence spending. I think this, and increased current size of the army, okay. I'll be nice to them, or supporting their insurgents. Now I'm going to try and blow up their nuke factory, because I can, so let's review forces first. So I'm going to buy, I need tanks, that's what I need. Purchase arms, USA. Let's get a bunch of main battle tanks. Get a bunch of them. Let's get some helicopters, 200 of them. Some SAMs, 150 of them. Now I need talks to get from Britain light tanks, 600 of them. Strategic action, Syria, tactical airstrike, nuclear situation. Hopefully it works. Bombers heading for Damascus were intercepted. Yeah, not good. Syria. Try to be nice to Syria. Or supporting their insurgents. So again, purchase arms. Let's review my forces. So I'm going to pursue more helis right now, because they really are worth their weight in gold, 100 of them. Strategic action. Syria. destroy their nukes. Next turn. Israelis destroy Syrian nuclear action strike. Fantastic. Okay, I've never heard this story before. Israeli demonstrations on Jerusalem streets. This might mean that I think I'm putting a strain on the economy. Right. Syrians did get nukes. Okay. This might end badly. Syria. Okay. It might be Iran who has it, actually. I'll check. Is it Iran? Iran has nukes. Okay, that's fine. We don't care. Syria. Okay, so diplomatic. Deplorable, okay. So, intelligence. Support the insurgents. Purchase arms. Let's have a look what I need actually. No, not that. I'll go to Syria and full-scale immediate deployment. But now let's see, review forces. I will get more helis and SAMs. Helis. Oh, I've got gunships available as well. Purchase arms from Britain, light tanks. I did the strategic action. Let's check. Yeah, okay. Initial losses for Israel in Israel-Syrian war. Israeli tanks take over in Israeli-Syria war, so we'll see how we are. Syria. I'll keep them closed. Intelligence, support their insurgents, make policy. Strategic action. Let's have a look. Wow, okay. I already started back on the front because, yeah, I'm not going to use nukes, I think. Right, I'm going to just deploy extra forces. Yeah, they don't have much forces actually. Beating them in SAMs, beating them in light tanks, helis, losing in jets badly, but beating them. So I think if I deploy all my extra forces, things should start going in the other direction. So continue now, purchase arms. Heavy gunships. Purchase arms also. Scorpion light tanks from Britain. Next step. Oh wow, okay. Right. I was not expecting that. Yeah, it looks like my military was just worn down so much with Egypt. I thought I would survive there. Well, that was another intense game of conflict, Middle Eastern political simulator. I plan on uploading all my games unless they're really boring, but yeah, that was sort of one of the things what can happen early on in the game. You can get very intense pressure from Egypt right out of the gate. Yeah, it can go that way sometimes. I really thought I would hold there because I thought the makeup of the forces was to my benefit. Well, guess it wasn't. And that's my second loss. So 1 win, 2 losses. I'm here. I would like to say I have a better record off camera because I've played this game for a few years now, but that might not help. Convince my fans anyway. So that is game number 3, and it was a loss. Oh well, still had very impressive leadership.